the celebrity who got married without her fans knowing. Omah was a young Nigerian girl who left for Berlin 5 years ago on a scholarship. She was the first daughter of Motsi Eloka, a poor man with 7 children. Tall, dark-skinned, and slender, she looked very much like her father. Her beauty was quiet and strong, but her life hadn't been easy. Her family struggled. Her father barely made ends meet, and her mother worked as a poorly paid private school teacher. Even feeding the family twice a day was a stretch. Schooling herself was Omah's personal mission. She hustled through university with little to no support. She shared rent with a roommate, befriended classmates just to eat at their places after class, and walked long distances to school. Many days passed without food or even hope of food. Men offered her comfort and riches, if only she'd agree to be their wife or mistress. She refused, determined not to trade her body or future for temporary relief. While she was in school, several suitors came to ask for her hand. Her father, hungry for money, entertained them if they seemed rich. He once even suggested she marry the son of a wealthy friend abroad, hoping for the benefits. Omah knew her father's interest wasn't love, it was greed. Her mother didn't object to her marrying, but she believed it should be Omah's choice. If she agrees to marry you, then no problem. Whew. I've married my own, her mother often said. After graduation, Omah took a job to save for her travel. The pay was decent compared to Nigeria standards, but the working conditions were terrible, unsafe, exploitative, and grueling. Despite this, she managed to save enough for her flight. While she was saving, her family constantly pressured her to send money home, and she did, even when it strained her. When she finally landed in Berlin, she resumed school. The scholarship covered her tuition and basic living, but it wasn't enough for personal needs or supporting home. Foreign students weren't allowed to work, so Omah had to hustle secretly. She tried exporting goods to Nigeria and ventured into modeling, but nothing stuck. Worse still, immigration authorities were starting to notice. Out of desperation, she turned to social media. She began sharing bits of her life on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, her beauty, her culture, her struggles. Slowly, her follower count grew. People were drawn to her glow, a dark-skinned beauty with grace, brains, and fire. Soon, she went viral. During this period, Omah met 2 men. While in Berlin, she met 2 men and became romantically involved with both. The first man was not a student but a businessman who had helped her try to export goods to Nigeria as a source of income. Soon, Leonard asked her out and they began dating. Leonard liked her because she was beautiful and a hard-working young woman. During summer break, Omah would stay at Leonard's apartment until school resumed. Over time, she began to notice behavior from Leonard she didn't like. As a strong Igbo Nigerian man, Leonard held certain beliefs about women and gender roles that Omah found misogynistic. Whenever Omah tried to discuss these issues, Leonard became offended. He would leave all his clothes with her to wash. When she complained, he insisted that laundry was a wife's job. He often invited his friends over and expected Omah to cook meals for them without help. When she asked for assistance, he dismissed her, saying again that cooking was a woman's duty. Often, Leonard borrowed money from Omah without repaying it. Omah found it inconsiderate, knowing she was a student struggling to support herself. Even when he had the means to repay, he would procrastinate until she gave up asking. From Leonard's actions, it was clear he had no intention of marrying her anytime soon. All these behaviors denied Omah the emotional security she needed to stay in the relationship. While all this was happening, she met another man from her school, Richard, who treated her with genuine kindness. Impressed by him, she decided to give their connection a chance. At first, she was skeptical, wondering if his kindness was conditional. She had never properly closed the chapter with Leonard, and neither did Leonard try to reach out again, which left Omah feeling unimportant to him. Richard told her he liked her deeply and wanted to marry her. He said, "I don't care how your previous relationship ended. All I want is for you to know that I love you. I do not want a sex partner, I want to love you and be with you. Hearing those words, Omah recalled that she had seen Richard around during school. They hadn't done much together, but it seemed he already knew her well. Richard consistently matched his actions to his words, and that impressed Omah. She decided to move forward with him. Omah often remarked, "He's kind to me, he's calm and quiet, he's futuristic. He doesn't want a sex partner but a life partner. He's hardworking and he supports me. I think we can make this happen." This was happening toward their graduation time. 2 months later, they graduated. Richard returned to Nigeria to pursue, while Omah stayed behind in Berlin. 2 months later, they graduated. Richard returned to Nigeria to pursue his dream as a musician, while Omah stayed behind in Berlin. They continued communicating. After a while, Omah struggled to figure out what to do for postgraduate life in Berlin. Richard advised that she could return to Nigeria if life became too difficult there. A few weeks after Richard's advice, Omah returned to Nigeria. She relied on her knowledge of importing goods from Berlin and her social media presence, which earned her money whenever she went live online. Back in Nigeria, she decided to try working for a decent company, but she quickly realized the pay could not support her lifestyle or her dreams. So she doubled down on her online earnings. She channeled her energy into live social media streams and other digital methods of making money. She started earning up to $100 per day online. With the money she made, she built a website to sell imported products, mostly from Berlin. Meanwhile, her boyfriend Richard was working on building his music career. He released a new song that was streaming on platforms. Upon her return to Nigeria, Omah struggled to find affordable and secure accommodation in Abuja. During this time, she stayed at Richard's house. Their relationship grew stronger every day. After 10 months of living together, Richard proposed marriage. Omah said yes. They performed the traditional wedding rites and eventually moved in as husband and wife. All these things were happening, and Omah, a celebrity who was well known online and celebrated for her beauty and intelligence, did not tell her fans about her marriage. What do you think would happen if fans found out she was married? Subscribe for more interesting stories.